this is a three-way proportion question because we've got the number of people, we've got the amount of time, and we've got the number of letters. But we've got to think carefully about it. For example, if I have more people with the same number of letters, then it will take less time. Or if I have more people with the same time, I'll get more letters. So there's an interesting relationship going on with the proportion. But as long as we think about it carefully, we can deal with this because the key thing is they're working at the same rate. So let's write the information we've got down. We've got 3 people, P for people, T for time. In 2 hours, they can put in 600 letters. And the first question is saying, how many letters should the 4 of them be able to put in envelopes in 2 hours? So I want to keep the hours the same. All right. Now, how do I go from 3 to 4? Well, I could divide by 3 and then times by 4, but let's do that, but let's take it step by step. So let's deal with the fact that when I have one person, okay, I'm dividing that by 3. What's going to happen to the letters? Well, I'm not going to have more letters, I'm going to have less letters. I'm going to divide that by 3. And so that's going to give me 200. And then if I've got 4 people, I can times it by 4. So if we just take it step by step, we can get the answer. Remember, I'm keeping T the same. Time is not changing here. It's going to go up to 800. And that is my answer to the first question. So this is the way I'd advise you do it. Just slowly work your way through it, carefully thinking about what happens to them. Okay, second question. How much longer would it take 4 people to put 1,000 letters in envelopes, and it would take 5 people? Well, I think a good starting point is going to be our end point of the last question, because I've got 4 people here. Okay, now I want to change this one to 1,000. So how can I do that? Well, I think I might want to first of all change it to 100. So I'm going to need to divide this by 8. I want to keep the number of people the same. And what's going to happen? Well, the time is going to get less as well. If I've got these 4 people and I'm only putting in 100. So that's going to be 2 over 8 or 1/4, which I might write as 0.25, or I could leave it as a quarter. That's fine either way. Okay, and now I want to change it to 1,000. So that's going to mean I times by 10. Still got 4 people. So if I times this by 10, it will be 2.5 hours. And I've got a first result coming out. Okay, I'll use that in a bit. Now I need to change it to 5 people. How long will it take? So I want to keep this 1,000 the same now. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to first of all change it to 1 person again. So that means I'm dividing this by 4. But this time, it's not going to take less time for 1 person, it's going to take more time. So this is where the three-way proportion, we have to be careful. I'm actually going to times this by 4. It's going to take 4 times as long. And if you double it, you get 5. If you double it again, you get 10. So it's going to take 1 person 10 hours to put in 1,000 letters. And we're nearly there now. I'm going to then times this by 5. So if I have more people, it's going to take less time for the 1,000 letters. And I'm actually then going to divide this by 5. And it's going to take them 2 hours. So 5 people, it takes 2 hours for these 1,000 letters. And if I want to just finish this off, how much longer would it take? Well, it's going to be 2.5 minus 2. It's going to be 0.5 hours or 30 minutes. Either of those would be fine. Okay, a bit more to this question, and you have to think about it really carefully. So last part, Sam says it took 2 hours for 3 people to put 600 letters in. So if they work all day, they could put 7,200 letters in by timesing by 12 for these 24 hours. Why is Sam's assumption not reasonable, and what effect has the assumption had on her answer? Well, it's not reasonable because you're assuming that they can work at this constant rate all day without any rest breaks or eating or anything. So they will need to have rest breaks or words to this effect. They can't work at this rate all day. Okay, I've answered the first part. What effect has this assumption had on our answer? Well, it's going to be an overestimate. You could say that something like they'll actually put less than 7,200 letters in, which is the same thing, or you could say that it will take longer to put 7,200 in, I suppose, equivalent to that. Hopefully you're happy with that.